Hello, BookTube. This is an early weekly reads. My reading week has been rather eventful, and I'm forgetting 2 books that I need to talk about. So let me get them real quick. I'm not going to restart the video though. There we go. Now I have all the books I've read this week. So again, my reading week has been quite eventful. I started the reading week with Gods and Mortals, Ancient Greek Myths for Modern Readers by Sarah Iles Johnston. This is a contemporary, it came out just a few weeks ago, retellings of Greek myths. I love this book. It is amazing. The focus is on the relationships between the gods and the mortals, both positive and mostly negative. The book begins with a retelling of the creation of the universe and the earliest generations of gods up to the children of Zeus. And then the second part explores the gods' relationships with mortals, both amorous and dealing with hubris and all sorts of human criminality. The third part focuses on the heroes, Perseus, Orpheus, Heracles, Jason and the Argonauts. The fourth part focuses on Troy, and the fifth part on the return of the Greeks from Troy. So I really enjoyed this book. Again, it's an amazing collection of retellings. The writing style is really great and enjoyable. I loved every moment I spent with this book. The only critique I could have is Johnston does tend to focus a lot, rather heavily on the Orphic myths. So Eros is presented as one of the earliest gods, one of the primordials, rather than being the son of Aphrodite and Ares. There's Zagreus, who in this case, and I actually kind of like this, although the notion of either the Olympians or the Titans actually being killable is a bit problematic, but anyway. So basically there are two Dionysus in this book. The first one is more commonly known as Zagreus, who was the son of Zeus and Persephone. This Dionysus, Zagreus, was later murdered by the Titans and cannibalized, except for a little bit of his heart that was preserved and given to Semele, who Zeus then had an affair with to produce the second Dionysus, the more familiar Dionysus. And of course, there's quite a bit of focus on Orpheus as well in this. And of course, I guess really the one critique I think anybody could give to this, or really any sort of Greek myth retelling, is that of what gets left out, because there are lots of Greek myths and not all of them get told all the time. I mean, there's not enough space. So again, Eros, the son of Aphrodite, isn't included, nor his kind of relationship with Psyche. Ganymede isn't included, and several others. And I think maybe there could have been some expansion. I think the Apollo Hyacinthus myth could have been given a bit more attention, but I mean, besides those nitpicks, I love this collection. It is an amazing, amazing book. I loved it. I sadly cannot say the same for The Trees by Percival Everett. This book was shortlisted for the Booker last year and has won a number of other awards, I think. And I had it on my 12 TBR, as well as the fact that Percival Everett is a writer who I have long wanted to read something by. Unfortunately, I did not get on with this book at all. The Trees is a satire of American race relations. It's about a murderer taking revenge on the descendants of the men who lynched Emmett Till and others in incredibly gruesome ways. They are found brutally beaten, emasculated with their testicles in the hand of a dead African American, and this dead African American body tends to disappear, and that's what brings in the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. The setting is Money, Mississippi, the small town where Emmett Till was lynched in the 1950s. And later, the FBI comes in and gradually similar murders take place elsewhere, and things go crazy. I wanted to like this book, but I think maybe I was expecting better prose because the writing's not really that great. The characters are all whether one note, whether they are the residents of, well, whether they are the monstrous residents of Money, Mississippi, or the allies of the detectives, the detectives themselves, the FBI agent. The humor really didn't do it for me. The solution to the mystery was I didn't care for, although I don't think there was much of a way out of that particular conclusion. But it's, yeah, I did not like The Trees at all. I don't know if or when I will have another go at Percival Everett, but yeah, The Trees just did not do anything for me. And after I finished The Trees, I read Sounds, Feelings, Thoughts, 70 Poems by Wislawa Szymborska, translated by Magnus Krynski and Robert A. Maguire. This is a selection of Szymborska's poetry that came out in the 70s. So the translations are earlier than the ones that came out later that I have in my, also have by Szymborska. And I really enjoyed it. The translations are pretty good. The poems are lovely. I adore Szymborska's work. So, and the translations were equally as good in this collection as they have been in the others. And I quite like the differences that I've noticed in the translations. So yeah, and this one is interesting because it is a dual language. It's also in Polish. So yeah. And yesterday I read 2 volumes of manga. The 7 Deadly Sins, Volume 18 by Nakaba Suzuki. Again, The 7 Deadly Sins is a series inspired by Arthurian legends. It takes place in the land of Britannia. And one day, an order of superhuman knights called the Holy Knights have overthrown the King of Leones. His daughter, Princess Elizabeth, has gone in search of the 7 Deadly Sins, a rival order of equally superhuman knights, who 10 years previously were accused of assassinating the then Chief Holy Knight and conspiring to overthrow the kingdom. Princess Elizabeth finds the former leader of the Seven Deadly Sins, Melodius, and together they go in search of the other 6 to overthrow the Holy Knights and restore the king to his throne. The Holy Knight's plan, or the Chief Holy Knight's plan at this point, was to resurrect the demon race, which, while the main antagonist of the first part of the series was defeated, the other Chief Holy Knight did accomplish the goal of releasing the 10 Commandments, an elite order of demons who have set about to conquer Britannia. And this volume is a part of that arc, which I'm not as fond of. And I've noticed the last 2 volumes before this one that I'm not as into the Seven Deadly Sins as I was. That first arc, the first 13, 14 volumes were amazing, but the more recent volumes that I've read, I'm not as fond of. Although there are some great fight scenes, some great visuals, but like the story at this moment, I'm not as into. And I don't know if it'll pick back up or not, because I only have up to volume 18. I need to pick up some more. And also read Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 2 by Gege Akutami. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago in my library tour, Jujutsu Kaisen is set in contemporary Japan. It's about a young man named Yuji Itadori who, in order to protect his friends from a monster, eats a cursed object, a finger belonging to an evil wizard named Sukuna. And this act of consumption allows Sukuna to basically take up residence in Yuji. And initially, after this first crisis is taken care of, Yuji is sentenced to death by the Society of Sorcerers. But it's delayed because since Yuji can survive eating pieces of Sukuna and can relatively manage the possession aspect, that he will be allowed to track down and eat the other remaining pieces of or remnants of Sukuna until they're all collected, and then they'll kill him so that they'll be rid of Sukuna permanently. And so Yuji is enrolled in a high school that specializes in training sorcerers. And the second volume wraps up the first sort of multi-chapter arc, as well as setting up the initial main antagonists as well, or the main story, as well as some politics within the sorcerer community. And I rather like this volume. So I liked it quite a bit. I love the artwork and some of the humor in it, but I'm also, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm not as into manga at the moment as I have been. So we shall see. I don't know if I will get to any manga, whether picking up more Seven Deadly Sins or reading more Jujutsu Kaisen in the next few weeks, because my reading plans for these last few days of February are going to be rather interesting. And then, of course, with March, there's March of the Mammoths, although I guess if there are any bells or I need a palate cleanser, I can turn to manga if I'm in the mood. So we shall see. But let's move on to what I will be reading this coming reading week. So the reason why I'm doing weekly reads so early, normally I do weekly reads during the evening after my Friday reading, is because I don't think I will be getting any reading done today. I've been teasing the last few days that I'll be getting some new bookcases in, and one of them came in today. I should have gotten two, but Amazon's being weird about shipping the second one. So I'll get the second one tomorrow, but I will be during the period when I'm normally reading, I will be putting together the first bookcase. And then tomorrow morning, I will go about sort of rearranging the books before I move the new bookcase in. So my plan is the bookcase I picked up last year, which is currently the last book on the history wall, or the last bookcase on the history wall. I'm going to be moving back into the hall and move the classics, canonical, and modern and contemporary fiction, poetry, drama onto that shelf. And then the science fiction and fantasy that are currently in the boxes of exile will go on these two shelves, as well as this wall shelf. The two new bookcases will then be moved into where the one I got last year is, and they will finish off the history wall, so that I'll have enough space to expand my history collection. Anyway, that's the plan. Now, whether or not everything will work out, I don't know. But I don't think I will be getting anything read today. And tomorrow, I'm wanting, I think I'll try to get to at least one thing. I don't know exactly how long it will take me to reorganize and put together the second bookcase and reorganize everything. But I am hoping to get to Collected Poems by George Seferis. This is translated by Edmund Keeley and Philip Sherrard. I picked it up last month, and I'm looking forward to getting to it. So hopefully I'll be able to get it done Saturday after I've done all of my rearranging and stuff, but we shall see. I'm also hoping on Sunday and through the rest of February to read Vanguard, How Black Women Broke Barriers, Won the Vote, and Insisted on Equality for All by Martha S. Jones. I've been looking forward to reading this for a while, and I hope to get to it sometime in February, and I am definitely taking it now. So Sunday and Monday or Tuesday, depending how long it takes me, I will be reading Vanguard. And if I finish Vanguard before the end of February, I'll either maybe do some more manga, maybe another poetry collection, or try a chapter tag. I don't know. But March 1st, I will be starting March of the Mammoths, and I will be beginning with The Faerie Queene by Edmund Spenser. This is a classic work of English literature. I've been wanting to read the whole of it for years now, and I'm finally taking the plunge. Wish me luck. So that's my reading plans for this coming reading week, alongside some house cleaning and some rearranging and stuff. So anyway, BookTube, I need to go finish loading up my 2023 library tour part 20, which is, I think, finished. So anyway, and then load this up, and then it's off to put together a bookcase. Wish me luck. I am not the greatest at putting things together, so hopefully I do not lose my patience. But we shall see. I will report back sometime, probably with next weekly reads or with a discussion video or something. But anyway, and also I will be doing the last part of my 2023 library tour, the history wall. I don't know if I'm going to try to do it more quickly than I don't know if I'm going to do one shelf a day or if I'll try to double up like I have with the rest of the tour. But anyway, I'll decide that over this weekend and maybe make some funny or comedic titles for it instead of just History Wall 1, History Wall 2, History Wall 3. Anyway, So in a booktube, I need to go ahead and sign up for now so I can get this uploaded before I go and start putting together a bookcase. So in a booktube, until I see you on Monday, thank you. Have a great rest of your afternoon and weekend. And until I see you on Monday, stay safe.